Hello, Boxica family. Cyrus speaking here. If you think I sound a bit different, that is because it is not Cyrus, it is Keegan. And today we are flipping the tables around and we are going to interview the main man, the man of the hour, Cyrus. How's it going?
Yo, good mate.
Good. I think between myself and many listeners, we have many questions. I think first up is just how you came to be in terms of your fitness, how you got into it.
Yeah.
And your childhood.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, this is more nervous than being the other side of the interview table. But yeah, my fitness journey started when I was 12. My friend in school showed me a picture of his older brother, and his older brother was in the Marines, and he was kind of like on exercise. He had his camouflage on, he had his green beret on, and I was in the first year of high school. And he showed me this picture, and from that moment, something happened in my brain. I don't know what it was, but I wanted to join the Royal Marines. That was like my thing. And obviously, researching it, found out that you had to be fit. So at 12 years old, I started training and exercising to join the military, and that was it. So my training at the time, me and my friend, the guy that showed me this picture, Andy, his name is, he was one of the best men at my wedding, and he did the speech at the wedding, and I did his speech at his wedding. We've been friends for years, since nursery school. We would go on runs before school. We would do this famous, not famous, but become famous within our group of friends, run on the beach. So at middle of the winter, we'd put wetsuits on. We'd run like 5 miles down the sand dunes, and sand dunes, as you know, are like, up and down and spiky, and there was some rivers and all sorts of things in like the middle of winter, freezing. And then we would run back in ankle deep ocean, just doing push-ups, sit-ups and running and stuff like this, and at like 12, 13 years old.
And that was specifically for training towards your goal.
That was
of
training
making it through the Marines.
To get in the Marines, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I wasn't sporty or anything before that. I wasn't fit. I just started training to join the military and getting,
that's amazing.
Getting good cardio fitness, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was just from the image you saw? You didn't know anything about it at the time? You just saw the image?
Nothing.
Wow.
I think it was intertwined. My parents split up when I was 12 years old. So my parents had split, and I was staying with my dad. My brothers and sisters went with my mum, and they were kind of out the picture, so it was just me and my dad. And from that young age, my dad told me, like, you're old enough to take care of yourself now. There'll be, food in the cupboards, but you pretty much have your own decision, grow up a little bit. So I could do whatever I wanted at age 12, basically. Good or bad, might look back at that and say, oh my God, that's not parenting, but it worked out really well for me. Just my dad giving me that freedom at 12 years old. So like I wouldn't go to school that much. And I wasn't really spending my time. There were periods where I would get up to mischief, but it was mainly just training to join the military.
Yeah. That's amazing. Because that could have flipped one way or the other. Like you say, a lot of kids could have just traveled down the wrong road and gotten involved in places they shouldn't have been.
So I think my drive to join the military was from being in an environment at home that I didn't particularly like. Mm-hmm. Didn't like being in a small town where I was. All my friends would tell me when growing up, I used to really hate on my hometown. Like I hated it, hated school, just wanted to leave. And this image that I saw of my friend's brother was kind of like my escape, like, oh my God, like I can do this. I can go and be this Marine and travel around the world and do all this stuff. So I just wanted to get out of that situation.
Okay.
And that was kind of my ticket. So yeah, got really fit and joined the military. And that's when the real fitness started.
Yeah. Tell us more about that. I want to know about that.
Yeah, so I joined at quite a young age. I think I told you last time I went into the recruitment office at 15 months and 9 years old on the day. And the guy laughed at me and said, you're too young to join. But I actually I'd done my research. That was the day that I was allowed to apply to join the Royal Marines. So he was like, look, the pass rate for someone your age is next to nothing. I'm not going to put my reputation on the line sending you in for training when I pretty much know that you're not going to pass. I was 15 and 9 months old, and as you know, I was training since I was 12, so I was fit, and I managed to persuade the guy to let me go on PRMC, which was the Potential Royal Marines course at the time, which was a 3-day test to see if you were mentally and physically strong enough to join.
Okay.
And although I was very young, I was one of the fittest on the group, and got in there. So the military is good. I mean, fitness was never an issue for me because I've been training for so long, and I was so young, and just like, you know, when you're young and you can just like bounce off walls.
Yeah, but you said before that you actually weren't involved in any sports or training.
No.
So yeah, you were young, but you didn't actually. Yeah, you weren't involved in it before, so that's quite amazing.
Yeah, I think I built up the endurance just from the amount of training that I was doing at such a young age. At one point before I joined the military, me and my friend, the same friend that's Andy, the brother that was in the Marines, sought out this guy that used to be in the Marines in our hometown.
Okay.
Everyone called him Johnny Marine, right? And we started training with him. We would pay him £1 a session, which is like 5 dirhams back then. £1, and we would go into the gym with him once a week, and we'd go into the swimming pool with him once a week.
And you were training with him, he wasn't training you?
He was training with us.
Okay.
Right? He was training us, but he was training as well.
Yeah.
And there was a group of us, there was 3 friends that all wanted to join the Marines at the time, and he would train us. Man, we were 12, 13, 14 years old, and these pool sessions that we did with him were some of the hardest sessions that I've ever been through. And that was before joining the Marines.
Yeah.
So fitness for me when I joined wasn't, fitness is a big thing for a Royal Marine, but it wasn't for me because I was already fit, and they were just making me fitter.
Yeah.
So I was just like, the fitness tests and stuff like that in the military weren't really a big issue for me. The biggest things were like, just learning to admin yourself properly, going in the field, learning how to be a soldier.
Yeah.
It's all part of fitness as well, but it's tough, in the winter, going through Marines training, learning to be a Marine. I mean, you go from zero, a kid basically, to being a someone that can go to war at the end of it, and being in the elite fighting forces of the UK. So there's a lot of things you go through in the 8 months. It's tough. One of the longest, hardest training courses you can do.
Yeah.
Got through it, and fitness has just stayed with me ever since. And going through that training, and the sleep deprivation and the exercises you do and the hardships and all the stuff that you do, it just kind of like kind of puts something in you that's a bit different. You always have a perspective on things, of how hard things are, and fitness-wise, it's just that it gives you a extremely good base for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, you've been this fit, you've been through these really hard physical challenges, and then going to the gym, for example, every day is just like, okay, yeah, I just got to go to the gym.
Nothing else can really break you from there.
Yeah, it's like, I've been through this course.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's hell when you're going through training. You feel like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. But looking back, you actually miss it. Yeah.
You form that bond with everyone as well because you're suffering together.
Yeah.
It's that's a bond you can't really make just through everyday life.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's the things you go through, like the training course for the Royal Marines, the training team, the corporals, the sergeant, and the officer that are in charge of you, have you. You are theirs. You have no freedom. If they wake you up at 2:00 in the morning and decide to get all of your equipment and throw it in a river, and have you crawling in icy cold water, doing push-ups and things, literally at 2 a.m. in the morning, they can.
Yeah.
And they do sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? If they want to limit the amount of time you have to eat your food, they can do that, and they do it. You sprint into the mess hall, to the what do we call it? The galley. Sprint to the galley. You've got literally 5 minutes to get as much food in your mouth as possible. Then you sprint back to the accommodation where they play more games with you.
It was probably like a 5-kilometer run to to the galley as well.
It feels like it. So they just have you. They have your life. They have everything. And they can destroy it in a second. They can make you not sleep. And they do all that stuff. And it just builds you and builds your character. And like I said, when you're going through it and you're very tired, you're very worn down, it's hard, but later in life, you look back and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Like you said, it sets that foundation.
Yeah, some of the stuff that we did. So, yeah, no, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. went to my unit, carried on the fitness thing, and I think I told you this before. When I was in the military, I mentioned this on your podcast, I always looked up to the physical training instructors. Like, I was in awe of them. They were all muscly, they ripped, they were always like super, like, hair done good, clean shaven, very loud, just immaculately dressed all the time. And I was looking up to them like, wow, that's what I want to do one day. And if I would have stayed in the military, I would have been a physical training instructor before. So I always trained because I wanted to be one of the fittest. I always had that kind of image of being a physical training instructor in mind. So that was my motivation to keep it up. I mean, a lot of people, you finish training, they kind of gain a bit of weight. They're still fit. They're still Marines, but they don't keep a very high level of fitness. I always stayed on top of it, and it was something that I always did, a lot of, and always wanted to be one of the fittest around. So I always thought I was going to be a physical training instructor. Yeah. Funny how I'm a personal trainer now, but didn't know that then that I was going to end up where I am. I wanted to be a physical training instructor, but decided to leave the military after doing I think I did 5 years, 4.5, 5 years, something like that. Just put my notice in to leave, and yeah. You
were saying on our podcast that was a max of 4 years. So how did it work with you guys in the Royal Marines?
Yeah, we have to do 3.5 years minimum service. And you have to put in, I believe, a year's notice to leave. Okay. Yeah, so I think I did like 3.5, and then I put in a year, and I ended up doing 4.5 or 5, something like that. Okay.
And what was that point that pushed you into leaving?
I was just in a different place. I couldn't see a future for myself in the military. I wanted to experience life outside of being in uniform and being in the military. Military is kind of like a bubble. And I wanted to get out and explore the world, not in uniform. So, yeah, put my notice in, left, and it's funny how things work out because in 2006 when I was on a tour in Afghanistan, I was involved in an incident on a camp with a couple of vehicles, and got injured. And they flew me out of Afghanistan. And long story short, I ended up getting some compensation from the military for that incident. Because of the way it happened, the vehicles were off the road. They weren't supposed to be being used. We were using them because we needed to, and the military ended up giving me some money. So my dream at the time of traveling the world turned out well.
The jackpot a little bit, huh?
I left the military. I had not crazy amounts of money, but enough where a 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid could go traveling. So I did. I spent pretty much...
You'd still afford all your alcohol as well.
Yeah, I think 90% of that money went on alcohol.
Yeah.
I still always trained throughout that period, but drinking a lot, just not really focused on nutrition that much, and just kind of spent 4 years being a backpacker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And again, traveling teaches you so much as well. So on top of that, you had the traveling and meeting different cultures, and it's getting involved everywhere around the world.
No, for sure. It was good. It was fantastic. Just that feeling of being completely free.
Yeah.
And having the world as your oyster kind of thing, and just
especially coming from that background where you were controlled in a bubble.
Oh yeah, because I flipped the other way. I mean, I grew dreadlocks.
Nice. I think we all want to see a picture of that. That'll be posted soon, guys. Just thought I'd put it on the podcast so that Sai has to do it.
I'll give Mac a photo. He can post it. So grew dreadlocks. Spent 2 years in Thailand. Went around Southeast Asia. Went to Central America, North America. The States, went to South America, and pretty much just spent, like I said, 4.5 years being a backpacker, and then hit a point where I was still doing fitness. Don't get me wrong, like I was still fairly in shape, and I was still training, and it was very, very much still a part of my life. I was doing Muay Thai in Thailand for a while, competed, had a few fights in Thailand, and so I was still very much in the fitness scene, and decided at some point that I wanted to make it my career. And had enough of Thailand. It's an amazing place, but it's very much spend like 3 hours a day working, and the rest of the time you're twiddling your thumbs, going to there's only so many times you can go to the beach and chill before it just gets boring.
Yeah.
So it started to get boring for me, so I decided to move to Dubai Yeah, that was around 10 years ago, 10 years ago.
Nice. It's a great story. It's funny you brought up how you were there for 8 months in your training camp, and that changes you completely, which we obviously know. In a book I was reading, it was talking about two twins who went to Navy SEALs training, and one of them made it before the other twin. And throughout life, they were connected at the hip, knew each other back to front. And because the one went through the training before the other one, they said that time in between, they've never felt so apart and so different. They didn't get on as well as they used to.
Wow.
So it just shows you.
That's crazy.
They change you.
They do change you, yeah. They kind of brainwash you, and they really need to, because of the situations that you're put in as a soldier. You need to be brainwashed a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you were right that I've still got friends now that I had in the military. The biggest thing for me, the difference between the military and normal civilian life is the jokes and the stuff in the military are extreme.
Yeah.
Like something that's funny to us here in like civilian life is not funny to someone in the military. Like jokes and everything are taken to the next level. Just imagine a bunch of guys living together, all trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
Right. Or like playing jokes on each other. And I was kind of known as being like we call it a see-off, when you like get someone with like a practical joke or something. Okay. I was known as the see-off king, so I would love like playing jokes on people. They would do it back to me and that kind of stuff. So I'll give you an example. One example of the kind of jokes that we play on each other. When I had my incident in Afghanistan and went into hospital, I was in intensive care for 2 weeks. So immediately the whatever said, like, pack all Cyrus's stuff up, we'll send it to him. So the guys packed up all my stuff. They went out into the desert, got these camel spiders. Do you know what a camel spider is?
Just by saying that, I'm already cucking myself.
They got dead camel spiders, shoved it into all my clothes.
I'll be dead.
They got black masking tape and taped all my stuff up really tight. So I like in hospital, like trying to get my clothes, and they taped everything up.
No, man.
Just that kind of, and I was laughing, right? I'm there, like, hanging out in hospital, like, oh my God, the guys have got me. Just that kind of sense of humor.
Yeah.
You don't get, scorpions and stuff were in there.
Jeez.
They sent me a card with all these like funny jokes about smashing my head and all this kind of stuff. So you just see a funny side to things, and the level of joke is funny. And I missed that the first 6 months from leaving the military was hard because, you've got all these guys around you, you're playing all these silly jokes on each other. It's fun, Even when you're in a bad situation, you turn a funny side to it, you laugh. And you say things, you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. And you just get through it together as a team,
Yeah.
So you don't get so much of that in civilian life. So that's the part that I missed. But I'm definitely glad I left, because, being a little bit older now and having to look at, I'm not into politics at all, but the reasons why we're in Afghanistan, reasons why we're in Iraq and this kind of thing. Now I'm like, oh my God, what a load of crap, We should never have been there in the first place. And we should, So anyway, that's going into it too much, but glad I left. Glad I got to see the world as a traveller, and yeah.
Last question, then we'll move on because we could be here all day. I mean, it's very interesting. Did you ever hit breaking point? Did you ever hit breaking points in your training where you thought, "No, I'm done"? Maybe you wanted to throw a punch towards the instructor's way because they get in your face big time, huh?
Yes, hit a breaking point mentally. No.
Okay.
I had... this is the thing that I would tell myself when I was this young. I mean, it's stupid, but I would tell myself, either I'm going to die going through this training, or I'm going to be able to look my dad in the face and say, I made it. I'm not going to go back home and say to my dad, I failed. I give up. Well, that was just never an option for me. And I was... but physically breaking, absolutely. So the first time I got to the commando tests was one of the commando tests is a 30-mile loaded carry over some mountains.
Loaded being how many?
I forgot what the weight is. You've got your rifle, your boots, and all your kit on. Obviously, you've got I think like at least 10 kilos in your webbing, which is where you keep your ammunition and your water and everything. Then you've got a backpack on as well.
So just the webbing was 10 kgs.
Yeah, the
wow.
webbing.
Okay.
Yeah, the rifle is extra. Then you've got a backpack on as well, full of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
And you do 30 miles over a mountain over mountains, Dartmoor. It's like
Wow.
a hill range. Bogs, hills. One part's called the roller coaster. It's like up and down, up and down, up and down. And the first time I did that, I broke big time. I had an infection in my leg. I didn't realize how serious it was at the time, but all my veins in my leg were bright red.
Okay.
And you could see it was like a map on my leg. And obviously, being young and just wanted to get through it and do it, got through the other commando test, and this is the last one. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to push in and do it. Woke up in the morning, was feeling sick. I was like, wow, this is going to be a tough day. But I was throwing up. Started the thing. I think I got to mile 18. 18, 19, and just collapsed.
You were with a group at the time, or you kind of all went to
Yeah.
your own pace?
No.
You had to train
No,
as a,
no,
could
in a
do it
group.
as a group. Yeah.
In a group. Yeah, you have to stay in your group. You're with your with your leader, your corporal, and you go through it as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lagging. Man, I was lagging.
Were you the only one lagging?
Yeah. I was the only one in the group lagging. Everyone else was in the group. I was behind, not miles behind, like just, like 200-300 meters behind.
Yeah.
They stopped for a water break. I caught up, and then I collapsed in the river. Sorry, I collapsed, and then they threw me in the river to cool me down.
Okay.
The officer was like, he's done. You guys crack on. And then
And then they threw some spiders at you, and then they carried on.
kicked some dirt at me.
Yeah, toughen up. There's some concrete. Have a teaspoon of concrete.
Yeah, so I passed out, man. I was overheated, and I went into hospital, and I woke up 2 days later.
Okay. Wow.
I was out.
And what was it? A spider bite? Like what? Your veins were red. Do you know what that was from?
It was just because you're so run down. I cut myself, and it
Okay.
just got infected.
Ah, okay.
And it spread. I think it was in my hip somewhere, and it spread all down my leg. And the doctor said, but at the time he said, 20, 30 years ago we would have been chopping your leg off now,
Mhm.
but luckily for you, we have the medicine to heal it. And that, I was broke. I failed at that point, and had to go into this rehab unit in the military and get fit again, and then have another crack at the 30-miler later when I was rested and ready. And the thing I can remember about that is it didn't faze me mentally, but physically, having gone through almost the full length of training to get to the commando test, I was at peak fitness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was always one of the fittest, if not the fittest in the group. Okay. So then I went into rehab, and I wasn't doing that much fitness, and then I thought to myself, I've still got this. Like I've always been one of the
Mind's strong,
fittest.
but body's not.
In
after
school, I was one of the fittest. In training, I was always one of the fittest. And they threw me into this first run that we did, and oh my God, I've never experienced at the time just my mind being somewhere and my body being nowhere near it. Just absolutely dying. I think it was like a 5-mile run or something, like something easy. Like
Okay.
would have done it hardly without sweating or breathing.
Yeah.
And I was dead. And so I had to start from zero at that point and build myself back up. So that was a good experience as well.
Humbled you quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Reset you.
You're not made of rock, mate.
Yeah.
You're just a human. You can get injured and everything like everyone else. And so, yeah. No.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it did break me.
Amazing.
Yeah, physically.
You know what? You say that you broke physically before mentally, and obviously with most of us, it's always the other way around. So the fact that you say mentally you were fine, you're still pushing. I think you were already winning there, and you've obviously had that strong mindset throughout life. So, yeah, no, nice. Okay, well, like I say, we could be all day talking military. I think everyone would be entertained with it. Tell us about Boxica, how it came to be, the whole concept, the brand.
Yeah. Okay. So I was in London and I saw a similar concept with the bags, the aqua bags, in a boxing gym. And I was like, wow, I've never seen an aqua bag before, filled with water. That looks cool. Kind of got the idea. I was like, oh, something like that would be cool in Dubai. This was years ago. And just kept thinking about it, and met up with my business partner, Lee. He's a good friend of mine, but always someone that I could go to and talk about these kind of ideas and stuff. And he's a wizard when it comes to business, and he would always kind of like guide me. And I would go to him and like, look, I've got this idea. He was like, okay, maybe I can talk to some people, try and get you some investors, blah blah blah. So we got talking, And he was like, look, if you're really serious about this, you should go on a research trip to where all these, gyms are and really take notes and see if you've got, can really like refine your idea.
Yeah.
So Lee's idea, I went to New York, spent a week there, and New York's the fitness capital of the world. Lots of things start in New York. It's absolutely, the fitness there is insane. I mean, they have everything. I did, in a week, I must have done like 20, 30 boxing classes in the city.
Different gyms?
Yeah, different
Wow.
gyms. Yeah, I was trying out everything.
Wow.
Even non-boxing related fitness. I was just doing so many classes. So I did that, and then I went to Amsterdam. There was a gym we liked in Amsterdam. We liked the look of, so we went there, me and Lee together. He came with me on this trip. And I spent some more time in London, and we kind of, from those places, got a little bit from different gyms and said, okay, this is the kind of place that we want to set up. And I'd ran and was an owner of a CrossFit gym before, so I'd been in a kind of a community gym feel environment as well. And more we got talking about it. Lee decided, you know what, this sounds like something that I want to be involved in. Lee was always very fit and into fitness, but he was into real estate. So he always wanted to be in fitness, and he could have been a really good trainer, but his path took him down to real estate. So he always wanted to be in the industry, and this was his kind of thing. Like, okay, I'm passionate about this. This is something that I can do that's a kind of a business and in my area of passion. So he decided to get him involved, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We just went for it. Made a load of mistakes on the way.
Which is natural.
Yeah, still making mistakes today and learning every single day, and tough start. I mean, opened in September 2020, just after lockdown.
Yeah. I tell you, that's one thing I mentioned to people. So I came back, I think I came to a class in September, obviously before I worked here.
Yeah.
And before I worked here, I just thought the whole concept was amazing.
Yeah.
Cyrus has not paid me extra to say this. Honestly, when I would go and call a friend and say, hey, let's go to Boxcar and try it out, I almost thought there's no reason you can't not like it. Everything's amazing about it. People often think, experience as a PT, I'll often say to clients, have you boxed before? You want to box? And they say, oh no, I'm not a violent person, not my thing, whatever. But everyone who starts boxing, I haven't had one client, not one, who says it's not for me.
Yeah.
So that mixed with the functional side of it, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And like you say, September was when COVID was.
Yeah.
This was obviously a year and a bit
2020,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, that's when it was hitting hard.
About a
So
year
the
and a half
fact
ago.
that, I always thought it was amazing. You guys pushed through that, and look where you are now.
It was tough. It was. We said there was always some things that we wanted to do. We always wanted to grow a community that was unintimidating and all-inclusive. That was like, this is what we need. We don't want to set up a pretentious fitness place. We want everyone to feel comfortable, no matter their background, their fitness level. You should be able to come to Boxcar and get a workout in and feel like you're a part of something. So that was always a thing. Then the boxing aspect. We were actually at some point going in and out of, should we do boxing, should we not do boxing? But again, like you said, you do boxing, you don't have to be a professional to do it and get massive benefits from it. And not just physical benefits, or the mental aspects of just punching something. It's, so.
You can tell when someone comes here and they've had a stress day.
Yeah.
Stressful day. They hit their bag a little bit harder. You can see it on the face. They're picturing someone or something.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. I'll hit the bag and I'll picture, it might not even be a person, just something that I've done or an event that I'm just like, get it out. But wanted to have the fitness aspect in as well, so added the two into the class, and man, I mean, it's going well. We never took our eyes off what we wanted to build the whole time, even during the 2020 to early 2021 and going through the tough phases of the business. We always somehow knew that it would work out in the end, and just kept going. And now we've decided to add the spin studio. We've got the outdoor space and we've got the cafe coming. So really excited for the future and keep growing the community. Keep doing events and making people feel like this is their second home, and
So
Yeah.
lots to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Yeah, I actually had a question. What was I going to ask you? Give me 2 seconds, it might come to me. Oh, no, not a question, a statement. That's one thing, and not just as a community of clients that we have. I mean, from everyone I chat to, they all feel at home here. Like you say, not a pretentious gym. So many friendships, relationships, you name it, have been formed at Boxica.
Yeah.
All the social events, I think it's amazing. It's a really good concept. And again, that's without me even working out, I would have said that. Even us as employees, we have a great time here. It's amazing. It doesn't even feel like work.
Yeah.
So I think I can speak on behalf of everyone. I think we're very grateful for what you guys have done, you and Lee. And yeah, I think it's going to go far, man. So yeah, big ups.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so obviously you said we've got spinning going on. We've got the cafe coming. Any future goals of possibly branching it out? Is it too far to be thinking of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always try and, project into the future and look at how you can expand and keep growing, business, personally, or whatever like that. So the thoughts definitely crossed our minds. To be honest, since COVID and everything that's happened, we're just really not taking every day at a time, but we're just focused on kind of the short term for now. And the short term is keep doing what we're doing and keep growing, getting better here in this one location. And then, yes, possibly in the future, look at taking it to other locations.
In the UAE, or have you even thought of maybe overseas?
Yeah, UAE is an option. Overseas is both options. So many different ways of doing it. If we were to be honest, we haven't really sat down and been like, yeah, right, let's get this plan together. We just want to, like I said, focus on this location and make sure we're doing this right. And we've only been open not even a year and a half, so as a business we're still quite young. Maybe at the 2.5, 3 year point, once we've really got this place rocking and everything's running as we want it to be, then start looking at going into somewhere else. Amazing.
What next? So many questions. What do you do so first thing I notice about you, again, before I even worked here, is you are probably one of the most grounded people I've ever met. You give everything into every client. A gym like this, so many members. I've been into boutique gyms before, and when there are so many members, it's hard for a trainer or a boss to have that conversation with everyone. You've got so many things to do, so many things on your mind. You might even have the conversation, but you're not present. But every time I see you, you are giving it all to people, right? You're receiving it, you're giving all the advice you can. Which is amazing. And my question to you is, what do you do to turn off from that? Because you are at the gym a lot. Obviously you would be, it's your baby. But it is something that requires a lot of energy. Even if you are keeping quiet and just listening the whole time to clients. So what is it that you do obviously you meditate, we spoke about that.
Yeah.
What do you do to wind down and just regenerate?
Well, first of all, I want to say that you said giving a lot of energy and listening to members and being there. Well, that's not a one-man task. The reason why Boxica has been able to do that so well, and the people have been able to do it so well, is because I meet people like you, and I hire people with personalities like you, right? So I would say, yeah, I'm here to listen and talk to people, but I can't talk to hundreds of people at the same time and remember everyone's names and do that. So a big part of Boxica being what it is yes, it's the community, but it's the trainers. It's you, right? It's people like you. So I would turn that around and say, one of the reasons why Boxica does feel intimidating and fun and it's all inclusive is because of hiring people that are advocates of that and that are people like you, right? I joke around and put Superman next to your name in the thing, but you are like Superman.
Yeah,
you listen to people, you're very personable, you don't brush people off. So it's down to coaches like you, man.
I appreciate it. Again, it's easy when it's under people like you and Lee and surrounded by the other coaches that we have. So
yeah. We all feed off each other.
And the clients. Sorry, leave out the main group.
the
clients.
important.
The clients, honestly, clients at Boxico are amazing, and the future clients to come. Like,
man,
that's what makes me love the job.
Yeah, Boxico is the community. It is the people.
Yeah.
Right. It's we can guide and be what we are, but with the kind of people that we're attracting, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
To have that many people, all like-minded. We're all obviously different personalities, but
which is what you want.
Yeah, and there's no dicks here. Everyone's cool, everyone's chill, everyone's happy. It's great. I think it's great the people that are here, and it makes it. Like you said, the days fly by. You just talking to these people every day, and it's just amazing. Well, back to your question, switching off. Mm-hmm. What do I do to switch off? Training. Yeah, training is switching off for me. It is stressing the body, and it is working in some way, but it's my stress relief training. At the moment, I'm doing currently, like right now, I'll do one boxing class a week. I'll do 2 of Claire's strengths in a week, and I'll do 4 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes.
Yes.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is using the mind, using the body, rolling around, sweating around. The strength classes keep my muscle and my strength. And the 1 to 2. Sometimes I jump in with one of the Connor's boxing core classes as well, and because I like to work my abs a little bit more these days. But just to get the stress out, hit the bags, and get the high intensity aspect into it as well. So my training is my release.
Yeah.
When I don't train and stretch in a day, I'm not a good of a person. I don't feel as good as I do when I train, and everything works better when I train.
We don't see that on the outside, I must say. I mean, I've never seen you have a day where you're grumpy or maybe a little bit quieter and flat, which is natural, but I've never seen that from you. So obviously your work-life balance is very good.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm not here in Boxico, I'm just at home with my wife.
And your dog.
And my
Don't
dog.
forget your dog.
Ah, the dog. How can I not mention
your
the dog?
Your dog is your wife.
Yes. Yeah, the dog is my son, and he is... I mean, how can you not feel... When you look at, like, every time I go home, my dog just looks at me, and that's, like, for me...
Always smiling,
peace.
always jumping.
That's peace for me. Just playing with my dog, chilling out, 5 minutes with my dog, and whatever stresses are going on in life just melt away. It doesn't matter anymore. You're just with your boy, and you're chilling, and life is good. So yeah, spending time with my wife, spending time with my dog, don't go out socializing anymore. My friends stop calling me now because it's just like, this guy doesn't come out. But I'll typically have a few drinks if there's a Boxico brunch or if there's an event. There's a lot of events in the UK. When I was there, I was drinking a little bit, but typically I won't drink or socialize in that sense. Mm-hmm. For me, switching off is more, just chilling with the dog. # boring life.
Oh, boring to some, eh? Like you say, you're in a different chapter now. That's amazing. Good. If you could give your younger self any words of wisdom, piece of advice, what would you give?
Everything has a time. Don't rush it.
That was powerful. That was powerful. Shivers.
I've tried to force things in the past, and I've tried to get things done by sheer brute force, and that's usually the painful way of doing things. If something's meant to be, it's going to happen. Be patient. That's what I would tell myself.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's massive, yeah. Like I say, shivers. Because it's cold in here. Actual shivers. Oh, amazing. How old are you now?
I'm 36.
36. Child on the way.
Oh.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, mate. Child's good. Very good. I told my wife when I met her that I wanted to have a kid after I was 35.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that. I just wasn't ready for a kid at an earlier age. And sure enough, she got pregnant when I was 35. Really.
Normally it's the other way around. It's normally in my personal experience, it's a lady saying, I want a kid at this age, I want a house at this age.
Yeah.
So are you the wife in this relationship?
I am. I wear the skirt.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've always planned everything that I've done in my life. I've planned it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's really happened randomly to me. I've always had like now I've got things in my mind that I want to achieve and I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'll focus on that and you know, every day, every week, every month, every year, the actions that I take will eventually get me there. That's how I've always kind of operated. And so, yeah, it's not a surprise. I'm now more than ever 100% ready to have a baby, and I really can't wait just to meet him, and super excited.
I think we're all excited to see the little ninja that comes through.
Yeah, from the 3D images that we've seen so far, he looks like my wife.
Okay.
I don't know if you can tell from this early, but he's 32 weeks, and he's got my wife's nose, my wife's cheekbones.
You got to watch what you say, yeah.
Yeah, my wife doesn't listen to this, don't worry. Yeah, so really, if he comes out looking like my wife, I'll be over the moon. I just can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, we're all excited to hear. Yeah, man. I think that's it. That's a lot for today, and it's really good. I think the listeners are going to enjoy that. I've always said we have our brief conversations, but I've always said like I said earlier, as you give a lot of energy into people, just in terms of listening, that I don't think a lot of us actually know what you're about. So yeah, I appreciate all the stories, and there's still a lot to come. And we'll jump on another podcast soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Thank you for coming up with the idea of doing this. And again, thank you for being you, man. Thank you for your energy in the gym. You know, a lot of the stuff you said, I was looking at myself, but I was also looking at you like, no, this is you guys. You know, this is the team. Yeah. This is what you guys do as well. So, no, thank you, man.
No, you're more than welcome. More than welcome.
Until next time.